My name is Klarque and photography inspires me. You know, the experience has been really rewarding. I feel kind of selfish because I've learned so much from these photographers that I've been able to use and take home and apply to my craft and kind of inspire and motivate my journey, that it almost feels like I made this series or created this series for myself. But having interviewed so many different people has made me aware that you can come to photography from just about anywhere, whether that's from an educational background, a technical aspect, or just an artsy kind of, want to see the world in a different light. I've always wanted to do photography, and life got in the way. I started doing other things and say that's pretty cool. I always thought you had to go to school to be a photographer. So that was the other thing. I was done with school. And as I got older, the more that I knew I didn't want to go back to school. So a good friend of mine, actually a family member, Calvin Evans, was probably the first photographer that I knew. Like, I'd never had a photographer in the family. So this was someone that I could actually ask some of the tough questions on how you got started. How'd you learn all this stuff and why'd you want to do it in the first place? So Calvin really was the inspiration for me ever thinking that I could be a photographer. And that was 10 years ago. So it really was just timing that brought me to a space where I felt like, I could do it.
So you mentioned timing. What changed?
That's a good question. So what changed was the industry. So with the advent of technology really opening doors for independent artists, I got into a space to where I started covering red carpet events, and not on the photography side, but more on the video interviewing side. And I would look down on the other end of the red carpet where all the photographers were huddled up, and I would watch them and say, I think I could do that. And one day we just had the time to do it, and we just kind of went down there and played around with it. And actually at that time, which is so funny, I had a cell phone. So I'd have the cell phone on this little monopod stick, and I'd be in the background because I was too embarrassed to be on the front and have people watch me do it. But I'd be in the background and I'd take these shots, and they were half bad. I remember I put flash, a flash on top of the camera, right? Because I was smart enough to know you can't use the pop-up flash. So I put this flash on top of the camera, and I didn't know how to set the flash. So I'm on the red carpet, I'm doing my thing. Of course, I'm shooting all in auto, complete auto, because I don't even know what the other things stand for at this point. But every time I hold my camera up, my flash would go off, and I didn't click the shutter. So I'm like, what in the hell is going on? And every time someone pops off a flash, mine is flashing with it. And I'm like, wait, I can't control my own flash. So I was like, I don't know, maybe this is just what happens on the red carpet. You just have to have your flash get shut off. But I asked someone, I was like, listen, can you tell me what's wrong with my camera? And I was so embarrassed because they was like, oh, you got your flash on slave. So, it's popping off whenever someone else that has a flash similar to yours is popping theirs.
Favorite red carpet photo?
Favorite red carpet photo? Oh, it is, I'm gonna mess up. I don't even know her name, her real name, but she plays on Greenleaf. And I'm gonna figure out the name, maybe I can edit that in. But she plays on Greenleaf. We were at a Greenleaf red carpet, I guess, premiere for the season. And it was a really bad red carpet because it was just too many people in too small of a room, and we had gotten there slightly later than we normally would, so there was no space. So we're shoved on the second row, which is not where you want to be. And so I almost gave up because it was like, all right, I can't get a great shot. People are everywhere. It's chaos. And so I was like, all right, we got here. I got to take something because I want to come away with something, right? So one of the stars rolls out, and I can't really see her. So I saw this in a movie once, so I said, what the hell, let me try it. So I hold my camera up over everybody's head. I can't see anything. And I just fire off like 8 shots. And to this day, that is one of my favorite shots.
Dream camera.
Oh.
Camera to work with.
You know, everybody's gonna say the Hasselblad, but that thing looks so goofy. And I know I'll never need it because I'm not gonna be a fashion photographer ever. So for me, it's the Canon 1D, whatever mark they got now. I don't know, Mark II or whatever. But the Canon 1D is like my dream camera. It's like, that's when I know I've arrived. You know, it's just a big, powerful beast. So if you want to buy me something for Christmas, or just because it's Tuesday, the Canon 1D is what I would like. Wherever you start, I promise you a year from now, you won't be shooting with the same thing. Even if you can't or don't know where your next camera is coming from, if you just go down the road, you'll get better at that. So equipment-wise, don't stress yourself out that. I mean, I can tell you now I don't have anything that I used to have anymore. And next year I'll probably have something that I don't use now anymore. So it's a perpetual cycle. But what isn't a perpetual cycle is you starting. So if you're just going to think about it and talk it over with all your friends, you're never going to get started. You're never going to know if it's really what you want to do. I could have started this and said, it's not that fun. I don't really want to do it. So I think that's a part of it too. Finding out if this is really what you want to do. So do you really want to spend $3 grand on all this equipment and find out that you don't like doing it, or that you'd rather do it just for a hobby when you go out of town? So just start.
Click is your baby. What's next for your baby?
Oh, what's next for Click? I really would be, it's so many. I've got a bunch of milestones for Click. Like milestone 1 would be just to see it premiere in the movie theater. Like that would be, I would get a kick out of just sitting in the back, nervously, frantically nervous, wondering if anybody would like it. And so one milestone is to just have a premiere. Even if it's in somebody's backyard, just have a premiere of it. The other milestone is, and I probably shouldn't feel this way, but I want other photographers to have an appreciation for at least what I was attempting to create. Because this baby is really about highlighting photographers, specifically here in Atlanta, and how uniquely different each photographer is, even though the quest is, normally the same. So those are 2 right now. I'm sure once I get further down the road, I'll get even bigger. I do have maybe I can mention this, somebody might sponsor it. My ultimate goal would be to do the same thing, the same 12-part series concept, but on a national level with a full team, and be able to travel the country and pick 12 photographers who I have some in mind that I'd love to do. Brandon Werfel, if you're there, I'm looking at you, guy. Chase Jarvis. There are a bunch of, there are some photographers I'd love to do this same thing, but on a bigger level, and highlight different cities so that you can see that each city has its own unique flavor. San Francisco, Chicago, New York, LA. They all have different styles based on the region. So that's my ultimate goal.
Got your fancy camera.
Somewhat.
Red carpet. What was that like? Now you have your camera, you're on the red carpet, you're one of the red carpet photographers.
So now is where things get tricky because, yeah, I've got a better camera, but I don't know how to use it. So.
What's
Click. Are you part of the click?